Today we would be discussing Bacon's essay of friendship. Now, this essay, as the title suggests, is about friendship. And it is said that this essay was written at the request of Toby Matthew, one of Bacon's very good friend, to celebrate their long lasting and pleasant friendship. And in this essay, Bacon has talked about the benefits of friendship. And he has, through various examples and allusions, he has tried to give you the benefits of a good friend. And he has told you how in ancient times Roman emperors had many good friends, and how they got benefited by those friends. When this essay begins with a very remarkable line: whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. Now, this is talking about two different things. If one is happy with solitude, then that person is either beast or that person is god. Now, this sentence has been given by Aristotle, and Bacon has quoted this sentence, and he says that. Aristotle remarks that a man who loves solitude is either a beast or an angel, and but this is half true, because if you are isolated, and if you are happy with that isolation, somewhere you are not human, somewhere you become beastly, and somewhere you become negative to the society. And on the other hand, if you enjoy solitude so much, then maybe somewhere you are advancing towards the feeling of godliness, and which in itself is impossible. So he says that it is not possible, a man living in a society, for him it is not possible, and solitude has wider implications than what people believe it to have. For a man may feel lonely in a crowd in the absence of love. So even if you are surrounded by a lot many people, you are living in a crowd, and if you do not have love of a friend, then you may feel lonely. So in a way, Bacon wants to tell you that you need to have a friend in your life. Then he gives the advantages of friendship, and those the essay, in his essay, he quotes those examples. Through various examples, he tells you that what are the advantages of friendship. Then he says friendship helps a man to relieve his heart. If he has some fear, or if he has some pain, or there is some sort of agony in his mind, he can relieve his attention by talking about it to his friend. And then he quotes various rulers, especially he takes example from Roman history, who had very wise men around them, and those wise men were acting as counsels to these emperors, and they were more or less like their friends. So he says that feelings and emotions, if accumulated, eat the heart and destroy a man's health. And this is how, if you have a friend, you have an outlet for these pent up feelings. Then he says, what are the double effects of friendship? If a friendship is there, your joy increases, because you can in a way, by sharing your problems or you're sharing your agonies, the intensity of pain you are suffering, that pain lessens somewhere. And when you share something, it get double. So the effect of friendship is doubling the joy. Then it friendship gives you better understanding. You discuss things. When you discuss things with others, you come to a point, you come to a conclusion. Maybe you are moving in complete darkness. You do not know what to do, where to go, how to solve a problem, or you are not understanding yourself also. So when you discuss things out with friends, you understand yourself better, you understand the situations better, and you somewhere find a solution to your problem. So this way, friendship could be very useful. A friend helps a man to improve his conduct and avoid follies and make mistakes. A friendly advice is unbiased, and it is reliable, because whatever advice a friend would give, it would not be a professional advice, it would be a personal advice. And since it would not be a professional advice, it would be a personal advice. You know, this is the best advice, or there is no ill will accompanied with the advice. So it has its own benefits. Then it is like, you delegate your work. When you are living, you want to do something, and you cannot be everywhere, you cannot do everything. But if you have a friend, you can get your things done through him. So this way, the role of friend is like your who is your subordinate, or who is in practical sense a friend, who is by your side, who gets your things done, or who gets your dreams also fulfilled. So when you are not living, your friend is there to fulfill your dreams. So these are the various benefits or the advantages of a friend, which Bacon has given you one by one. And there are lot many sentences, or lot many quotes from Bacon, which need to be discussed here. And as I said, that he begins with a sentence from Aristotle, says, "Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god." So this, when he begins with this sentence, he gives you his opinion that you need to have a friend, because since you are living in a society, you are a human being. A man is a social animal. A man cannot live without a friend. A man cannot live without a company. So, and company also, you cannot choose a crowd for a company, you need to choose a friend for a company. So this is how he begins, and then he gives you examples of examples from history, and Roman history, Roman kings who had friends, and these friends were very valuable to them, because he's somewhere he says that friend is different from a crowd, for a crowd is not a company, and faces are but a gallery of pictures, and talk but a thinking symbol where there is no love. So you need to have friends, because you do not you need to have a face to talk to. You do not do not need a gallery of crowds who do not have a face, who do not have a personal touch in them, and you cannot keep on talking to. They're just more or less like walls. Then he says that but he says, to quote him, "But we may go further and affirm most truly that it is mere and miserable solitude to want true friends, without which the world is but wilderness. And even in this sense also of solitude, whosoever in the frame of his nature and affections is unfit for friendship, he take it for the beast and not from humanity." Now, so this is the fruit of friendship he's talking of. And then he says that the principal fruit of friendship is the fullness and swelling of the heart, which passions of all kinds to come, they come and cause you stress. So he says when the friends would relieve you of the suffocations and the dangers of being suffocated in your own thoughts. So this is how he begins his essay, and this is how he delivers upon the fruits of friendship. And the first fruit which he says, or the first advantage of friendship, is that you can relieve yourself, you can talk to someone, get and get whatever is suffocating you, whatever is there in your heart, whatever is pressing you out, that can be, you can have an outlet through a friend. So this is how he comes with the first fruit of friendship. And then he gives you some of the examples where he said that these friends were deputed there, they were deputed as companions, or they were deputed as councils, and they were sometimes called favorites, or privados of these Roman emperors. But in a way they were friends, they should be called friends, because if they were not there, or they would not have been there, the king would not have been, or the person who was in charge of the whole empire would not have been same as he was. So it would have been very difficult for him to discharge his duties. Then he talks of Julius Caesar, he talks of Pompey, and he talks that Caesar was so much influenced by his friends that sometimes it was said that he's under the influence of some witch or so. Then he talks of Augustus, then he talks of Agrippa, and he talks of how Augustus wanted his own daughter to get her married to Agrippa. And then he says that people, or his wife commented that he must either marry his daughter to Agrippa or take away his life. There was no third way, he had made him so great. So this was the greatness of Augustus himself, that he gave his friend so much importance that he himself tried to make him great, and he was made so great by him that he offered his own daughter in marriage to him. So these men are there. Then when we have words like, I love the man so well as I wish he may overlive me. Now this was the feeling of these rulers at that time, these emperors at that time, that they wanted their friends to overlive them, to surpass them in their popularity or in their actions. So we can say that this is the ultimate sacrifice, or the surrender in love or in friendship, which these emperors could make. And then we have another example, or of advantage of friendship. And that example is that if you Bacon says, if you do not have a friend, you somewhere you will somebody would eat, or you would yourself feel that your heart has been cut into pieces and somebody's eating on them. So that is the benefit of friendship, that you can save your heart from being broken into pieces. Then he says that another benefit of friendship is healthful and sovereign for the understanding. A friend is there who can understand you. For friendship make indeed a fair day in the affections from storms and tempests, but it make daylight in the understanding out of darkness and confusion of thought. Neither is this to be understood only of faithful counsel which a man received from his friend, but before you come to that, certain it is that whosoever hath his mind fraught with many thoughts, his wits and understandings do clarify and break up in the communicating and discoursing with another. He tossed his thoughts more easily. He marshals them more orderly. He sees how they look when they are turned into words. Finally, he waxes wiser and himself, and that more by an hour's discourse than by a day's meditation. Now, he says that there are certain thoughts, or there are certain confusions, or there are certain questions which need an answer, and sometimes a person who has those questions, he himself is not clear about those questions. That is why he has those questions. And if he takes a counsel from someone else who's not a friend, he may not get the right answer. But if there is a friend, and there is a listener in a friend, then that listener or that friend would help the person come out of darkness, would solve those problems, or would solve those confusions, and that would help the person relieve himself from that confusion. So the importance of friend is there. One should have a good friend. Now, he says that he uses the word understanding, and that is the key word. If a friend understands you, then maybe if your questions are sometimes your questions are themselves not correct, or questions are themselves are a product of your own feelings or of your own follies, the friend would be there to point out at those questions, because a person who is raising those questions does not know his own behavior. He has not reflected up, into his own thoughts. He does not know his own conduct, or he cannot somewhere analyze his own conduct. The friend would at first point analyze those questions, and he would at the second point analyze the character or the conduct of the person who is raising that question. So somewhere a friend is helpful in understanding the person himself. Now, he now this is the another benefit which a person can have by having a friend. So we can again quote Bacon when he says, so as there is much difference between counsel that a friend given and that a man given himself, as there is between the counsel of a friend and a flatterer. For there is no such flatterer as is a man's self, and there is no such remedy against flattery of man's self as the liberty of a friend. Counsel is of two sorts, the one concerning manners, the other concerning his business. For the first, the best preserver to keep the mind in health is the faithful friend. The calling of man's self to a strict account is medicine, sometimes too bitter. Now, a friend is, as I said, the friend knows the conduct of the person who's asking the question. So whatever suggestion or whatever advice or whatever counsel he would give would be different from the counsel which would be given by a flatterer. So somewhere he would be checking you, somewhere your conduct would be checked, and you would be told that you are wrong here, and without flattering, without mincing words, or without being nice to you, that person would be telling you right in your face that you are wrong here, and this is the solution, and you should be behaving like this. So this is how a friend is helpful to any person. Now he's then he says that when we talk of business, when a friend helps you in conducting your business, then as for business, a man may think, if he will, that two eyes are no more than one, or that a gamester seeth always more than a looker on, or that a man in anger is as wise as he that hath said over the 24 letters, or that a musket may be shot off as well upon the arm and upon a rest, and such other fond and high imaginations, to think himself all in all. So somewhere he is helpful in conducting the business as well. He would be the right person, because he would not be selfish, and he would use his authority, or he would use his influence for your good, for the good of your business. Then after talking about these benefits of friendship, then we can talk of peace in the affections. Means affections here is used for in your sadness or in your agony, and support of judgment. Then he says the friendship is like a kernel which has many fruits, and which may help you at many places in your life. Then a friend, that is why friend is like another himself. You are there in one life, and he is with your own life. He is another you in the same life itself. So you are two persons with one heart. So a man hath a body, and that body is confined to a place, but where friendship is, all offices of life are as it were granted to him and his deputy. So whatever business you have someone who can conduct these business. How many things are there which a man cannot with any face or comeliness say do it himself? Then there is someone who can do it for him. So this is how a man cannot speak to his son but as a father, to his wife but as a husband, to his enemy but upon terms. Whereas a friend may speak as the case requires, and not as it is supposed to be that person himself. But to enumerate these things were endless. And he says that if we talk of the benefits of friend, then these benefits are endless. Because a friend, if a friend is if a person is talking to his wife, he has to talk as a husband. If he's talking to his son, he has to talk as a father. But if he asks his friend to talk on his behalf, his friend would be talking as someone who is a well-wisher. So he can always assign his duties or his task or whatever is challenging to him to his friend, and that those things would be conducted by the friend himself. So, and before concluding this essay, I would say that if you talk of the style of Bacon, his style is very formal. He writes in a formal style. He uses many allusions. He quotes from history. He quotes from people. He quotes from the examples which were there in the past, and through these examples he describes his thoughts. And then he has very small and pithy sentences, and those sentences are full of wisdom or full of practical purposes, and they are full of knowledge. When he quotes examples from various places, somewhere we come to know that he was very well read, and somewhere we find that there is a display of knowledge as well. But this was the style of the time, and this was his style, and his essays are till today very popular. And his whenever people are writing about these topics, like this particular essay on friendship, whenever one person is talking about friendship, a person is quoting some lines from the essay of Bacon as well. Thank you for today. Read this essay and take help of my lecture. Thank you.